Hello and welcome back to another video. It's been a while. Well, it feels like it's been a while for me. You saw me last week. For me it's been a while. For you just the same normal time. But anyway, happy Pride Month. I hope you all have a really nice month. I'm not really going to do anything particular this month. But if you want to see something that I've done for Pride in the past, last year I did an ace collage, which was basically getting a bunch of people to send in clips and made it into this nice video just celebrating aceness, I suppose. But what I wanted to talk about today was the breadth of the ace community. And what I mean by that is that if you compare it to other orientations, there is a lot of different experiences. A lot more different experiences within the ace community than you may see with other singular LGBT+ orientations. And there are several reasons for this, and I'm going to talk a bit about how these different experiences come about, and also kind of talk about why it's important that we recognize these different experiences. But without further ado, let's get started. So I'm probably going to title this video, A Single Person Can't Speak for the Entire ace Community. And yes, I think this is true. And I thought it's true since making this channel. In fact, Slice of Ace, one reason why the channel is called Slice of Ace is because I am just one slice, one part of the ace community, and my voice isn't representative of all ace experiences. And this is something I try to keep in mind when doing, for example, interviews with the media. And even just making my normal videos, I try to make sure that I am speaking from my own experience, but also acknowledging that my experience isn't the only way to be valid as an ace person. So to start off, I'll just kind of outline what I mean by this breadth of the community and being different experiences. So, on the one hand, we have the split attraction model. The split attraction model is where you split attraction into two or more different types in order to better explain how you feel the attraction. The main two are romantic and sexual. So I identify as homo-romantic asexual, romantically attracted to the same gender, sexually attracted to no one. And you can be any combination of these two orientations. So already, an aromantic asexual person is going to have a very different experience and thus a very different perspective on things than someone who identifies, for example, as biromantic. On top of this, there is a spectrum of asexuality as well. I tend to call this the ace spectrum, and it is the spectrum of identities which lies between asexuality, the singular identity of asexuality, and allosexuality, which just means not on the ace spectrum. The two main other orientations that are within this spectrum are demisexuality, where you only feel sexual attraction after a strong emotional bond has been formed, and grey asexuality, which is just kind of an umbrella term for being somewhere on this spectrum. Both of these orientations are just as valid as asexuality, the singular orientation, but it will vastly change your experience in identifying as ace. And finally, the other thing that kind of changes your perspective on things is intersectionality. There are many things under this umbrella of intersectionality, for example, gender, race, and cultural upbringing. So obviously I'm a white British cis man, and that's going to change how people interact with me, and that's going to change how people interact with the fact that I'm asexual. So I obviously can't speak for someone who is non-binary, or someone who is Asian or black, or someone who comes from a different country which may view sex in a different light. So even if someone is the same as me in terms of orientation, it also identifies as homo-romantic asexual, it doesn't mean that their experience is going to be identical. So hopefully that kind of gives a brief overview of what I mean when I talk about the breadth of the ace community. But why is that important? Well, the reason that's important is because as I was mentioning earlier, I can't speak for everyone, and I don't think there's any singular person who can speak for everyone. And thus it is important to have many different voices from different backgrounds, from different races, from different religions, from different genders, who can add their perspective and talk about and discuss how these different aspects of themselves affect how they're treated as an ace person and affect how they feel personally as an ace person. And really that's what I try to do when I am making things like the Aces Assemble and when I'm making things like the Ace Collage, which I mentioned earlier in the video. I'm doing these things because I know I'm painfully aware that I cannot represent everyone. So I want to talk to as many people as possible who are different to me so I can help share those experiences and use my platform to talk to and talk about people who are different than me. And I think it's really important to have other experiences represented because I imagine that not everyone watching my content will necessarily be able to relate to every part of me or relate to like every aspect of my life, whether it be because I have a different romantic orientation or because I am male or whatever. So I guess the point of this video is that when you're talking about asexuality and having discussions about it, it is important to look at it through a lens of your own perspective. So that may be your romantic orientation. That may be your upbringing, the things that have happened in your past. It may be that your race or your gender affects your asexuality and your experience of being ace. And it's important to take these things into consideration and know that however hard you try, you're not going to be able to represent everyone. And if you are in a position to gather some aces to talk about something, a group of aces to talk about their own experience, the most valuable thing is to get people who have vastly different experiences. One thing I see quite often is that older aces feel underrepresented in the media. Now, part of this is because I imagine there are fewer of them because they didn't, as they were growing up, have the language to express their orientation. But if you can, it's important to find those older aces who are willing to speak out, because I'm pretty sure they do exist. I've spoken to some of them. And by adding these voices to the conversation, you're broadening the amount of people who can feel seen and represented by their stories. But of course, I'm not trying to say that one voice alone isn't important. Obviously, your story, your experience, whatever it is, will help someone. They will be able to relate to some of it. It doesn't mean that if the person doesn't tick all the same boxes as you, that they won't be able to empathize with how you're feeling, or they won't be able to feel represented by what you're saying. It can be so powerful even if you see someone who comes from the same country as you talking about something, or someone who's the same gender as you talking about asexuality, especially if that's something you haven't seen before. And I think the more voices the better, the more experiences the better, because there are so many experiences. And if you consider all that I've spoken about in this video, combining those together, it's probably thousands, if not tens of thousands of different combinations of different orientations, of intersectional things, of different, I don't know, experiences to be shared. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Been a bit on my mind as I've been doing a couple of media things recently. I don't know, I very much, I'm trying to be careful when I'm talking in interviews that I'm not talking for the ace community as a whole. I'm trying to talk from my own perspective and then saying general comments about how this may not apply to everyone and so on and so forth. So I really hope I do a good job of that. I'm trying my best. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like. I post videos every Saturday, so if you want to see more, then feel free to subscribe. That is all I had to say today. Have a wonderful day, and I shall see you next time. Also, I've been slouching a lot in this video, and my back aches a bit. But I don't know why you needed to know that. Pride!